You ever notice how some women walk into a room and everything just shifts? Not because they're loud, not because they're showing off, but because they carry peace. That quiet kind of power that says, I know who I am and I don't need to prove it to nobody. See, a high-value woman ain't defined by how many people want her. She's defined by how few can deserve her. She's not out here begging for attention. She's building her peace, protecting her spirit, and setting her standards. If this message touched your spirit tonight, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another woman who needs a reminder of her worth. Because when one woman rises, we all rise. You see, a high-value woman moves different. She don't chase nobody, not love, not attention, not validation. Because deep down, she understands this one truth. What's meant for her will never require her to lose herself to keep it. Now, I ain't saying she don't care. Oh, she cares deeply. But she's learned something through all the pain, the waiting, the heartbreaks. She's learned that chasing never brings peace. You can't beg someone to see your worth. And you can't run after love without running yourself empty. When you chase, you give your power away. But when you attract, you stand in your power. That's the difference. See, attraction ain't about looks. It's not about having the loudest outfit or the prettiest face in the room. Attraction, real attraction, comes from energy, from how you carry yourself when nobody's watching, from the way you talk to yourself when things get quiet, from the peace you radiate when you know you don't have to compete because you've already won by being authentic. A high-value woman walks with grace. She doesn't move out of panic, she moves out of purpose. Her calm presence makes people feel safe. Her words carry weight because they come from a heart that's healed, not from one that's desperate to be heard. When she speaks, people listen, not because she demands attention, but because she embodies it. She's not chasing the spotlight, she is the light. You ever meet someone who's just easy to be around? Peaceful, grounded, sure of themselves. That's what grace and confidence feel like. That's what makes her magnetic. And you can't fake that. You can dress it up. You can post it online. But true energy, true peace, it can't be manufactured. The truth is, a high-value woman's confidence comes from her connection with herself. She's spent time alone. She's faced her fears. She's healed from what tried to break her. She's learned how to sit with her pain without letting it define her. That kind of confidence, that quiet certainty, is rare. It doesn't shout, it shines. Now let's talk about peace, because that's her greatest power. Peace is what she protects the most. She doesn't entertain drama. She doesn't argue with people committed to misunderstanding her. She knows that her peace is expensive, and she's no longer giving discounts. When she says no, she means it. When she walks away, she doesn't look back, because she knows her boundaries are not walls. They're doors that keep the wrong energy out and the right energy in. See, when a woman becomes peaceful, she becomes powerful. Because peace means she's mastered herself. She's not reacting to everything that comes her way. She's responding with wisdom. And that's when her energy starts to attract everything meant for her: love, opportunities, abundance, respect. The moment she stops chasing, she starts receiving. The moment she chooses peace over pressure, everything aligns. Because chasing is rooted in fear. Fear of losing, fear of not being enough. But attraction, that's rooted in faith. Faith that what's hers will find her. Faith that she doesn't have to force what flows. And here's the secret. A high-value woman doesn't attract by doing more. She attracts by being more intentional, more loving, more whole. Her presence speaks before she even opens her mouth. because peace is louder than perfection, and confidence is more beautiful than competition. So no, she doesn't chase. She's done with running after things that were never meant to stay. She's focused on growing, healing, and glowing in her own lane. And in doing so, she becomes magnetic. The right people, the right love, the right life, they'll recognize her energy and move closer. Because a woman who moves in grace, confidence, and peace doesn't need to chase. She just needs to keep shining. And the universe will always meet her where her peace lies. Let me tell you something right now. The moment a woman stops seeking validation, she steps into her real power. See, a lot of women have been conditioned to believe that their worth depends on how much love they receive, how many people approve of them, how many likes, calls, or compliments they get. But let me break this to you gently. That's not where your value lies. Your worth ain't in the opinions of others. It's in the peace you protect. It's in the standards you uphold. It's in the respect you demand. Not from them, but from yourself. Because when you start needing validation, you hand people the remote control to your peace. You let them decide when you're enough, when you're loved, when you're seen. And that's too much power to give away, baby. Too much power. You can't build your confidence on shaky ground and people's opinions. They shift like sand. One day they love you. Next day they question you. You can't base your value on something that changes with the weather. A high-value woman knows this truth. Her self-worth isn't up for negotiation. It's a fact, a constant, a non-refundable God-given truth. You see, self-respect and boundaries are her foundation. When she says, no, it's not attitude, it's alignment. When she walks away from disrespect, she's not being cold. She's choosing peace over chaos. When she sets a standard, it's not arrogance, it's clarity. Because she's learned that every time she lowers her standards to keep someone, she loses a piece of herself. And she's done with that kind of losing. Now let me make something clear. Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges. They connect her to a better version of herself. They protect her energy, her heart, her future. She knows that not everyone deserves access to her. Access is earned, not given. You ever notice how people treat what they have to work for with more care? That's why she sets boundaries. Not to push people away, but to teach them how to treat her right. She doesn't entertain every message, every man, every friend request, every situation that looks shiny but feels off. She listens to her spirit because validation feels good for a moment, but self-respect, that lasts forever. And let's be real, we've all had those moments where we've bent too far just to be liked. Stayed too long just to be chosen. But the high-value woman learns from that. She realizes her peace costs too much to keep discounting it for people who don't even know its value. Her glow up doesn't come from makeup or money. It comes from boundaries. It's that look in her eyes that says, I've been through enough to know what I won't go through again. That's confidence. That's power. That's self-worth. When she walks into a room now, she doesn't wonder if she's enough. She knows she is. She's not chasing validation. She's surrounded by peace. Because when you validate yourself, you stop waiting for people to clap for you. You start applauding your own growth, your own healing, your own strength. And guess what? The people who belong in your life, they'll respect you more for it. Because when you set the tone, others follow the rhythm. So remember this, you don't need to be liked to be valuable. You don't need to be chosen to be worthy. You don't need validation to feel whole. You were already enough before anyone had the chance to tell you otherwise. Your self-respect, that's your crown. Your boundaries, Those are your gates. Protect both, honor both, led by both. And if somebody can't handle that, then they were never meant to sit at your table anyway. Because a high-value woman knows. The table isn't where she proves her worth. It's where she honors it. If this spoke to your spirit, go ahead and subscribe right now. Every week, we dive deep into real conversations about healing, confidence, self-respect, and growth. This is your space, a place for women who are ready to start seeking approval and start standing in their worth. So hit that subscribe button and let's keep growing together. Building the kind of strength and confidence that shines from within. A high-value woman loves deeply, but she doesn't lose herself in the process. Her love is not a game, it's a gift. When she gives from her soul, loyal, patient, nurturing. She knows how to build with you, pray for you, and stand beside you through storms. But here's the thing. She also knows when it's time to stop fighting for someone who's stopped showing up. See, there's a difference between loving someone and losing yourself, trying to keep them. And that's a lesson every strong woman learns the hard way. At one point in her life, she loved blindly. She gave chances to people who didn't deserve front row seats in her story. She poured from an empty cup, thinking love alone could fix everything. But the truth is, love can't grow where respect doesn't live. That's where wisdom comes from. Now, she understands that love isn't supposed to hurt more than it heals. It's not supposed to leave her questioning her worth every night. It's supposed to add peace, not take it away. So yes, she still loves deeply. She'll love with patience. She'll love with grace. But she'll also love with boundaries. Because when she finally learned to love herself, she realized walking away doesn't mean she stopped caring. It means she started respecting herself more. She knows now that you can pray for someone and still release them. You can wish them well and still walk your own way. You can love them from afar. Because peace will always be more valuable than proximity. There's a certain strength that comes from knowing when to stay and when to leave. And that kind of strength, it's built from heartbreak. It's built from the nights she cried herself to sleep, questioning why she wasn't enough, until she realized she always was. She was just trying to give love to someone who didn't know how to receive it. Now, she doesn't beg to be seen. She doesn't chase closure. She doesn't fight to prove her loyalty. She knows that the right love won't require her to explain her value. It will recognize it. So when it's time to walk away, she does it with dignity. No drama, no bitterness, just peace. Because she's not leaving to prove a point, she's leaving to protect her heart. She's not walking away because she's cold. She's walking away because she finally learned what warmth feels like, and she refuses to live without it again. And here's what makes her powerful. She doesn't carry resentment. She forgives. She lets go. She moves on gracefully because she knows holding on to pain only weighs down her future blessings. She doesn't let the wrong one harden her heart for the right one. Her dignity is her crown. Even in goodbye, she chooses class over chaos. Even in heartbreak, she chooses peace over pride. And that's what makes her a high-value woman. She knows that real love begins within. She knows that when it's right, love will flow freely, without confusion, without forcing. And when it's not, she'll bless it and release it. Because she's learned that love should never cost her peace. If she has to beg for consistency, explain her worth, or lose sleep trying to feel secure, that's not love, that's survival. And she's not surviving anymore. She's thriving. So when she walks away, she doesn't look back with regret. She looks back with gratitude. because every goodbye taught her something about her strength, her value, and her worthiness of better love. And when that better love finds her, she'll meet it whole, not half healed, not bitter, but ready. Ready to give from overflow, not emptiness. Ready to love deeply again. This time without losing herself. Because a high-value woman doesn't just know how to love, she knows how to let go. And sometimes letting go is the highest form of self-love there is. Before she even says a word, before she even opens her mouth, you can feel her presence. That's the thing about a high-value woman. Her energy walks in first. It's not arrogance. It's alignment. It's not about her outfit, her title, or her status. It's the peace, the purpose, and the power she carries inside her. See, when a woman knows who she is, she doesn't have to prove it. She doesn't chase validation. She embodies value. She's not trying to impress. She's just being authentic. And that authenticity, that's magnetic. You can't fake presence. You can fake confidence for a moment. You can fake charm for a while. But energy never lies. Energy tells the truth about who you are. And when a woman has done her healing, when she's faced her pain and rebuilt herself with faith and grace, that energy becomes her signature. People feel her peace when she walks in. They sense her strength without her having to say, I'm strong. They respect her boundaries without her having to shout, respect me. Because her aura says it all. She carries herself with quiet confidence. Not the loud, showy kind, but the grounded kind that comes from self-awareness. She doesn't compete. She doesn't compare. She's too focused on her purpose to be distracted by approval. That's what makes her unforgettable. You can meet her once and she'll leave a mark. Not because she tried to be memorable, but because she's real. And realness always leaves an impression. Her energy commands respect because it's anchored in peace, not performance. She's not pretending to be perfect. She's just walking in truth. And people feel safe around that. They trust that kind of energy because it's rare. Let me tell you something. When a woman has found peace with herself, the world notices. Her posture changes. Her voice softens, but her presence strengthens. She doesn't rush conversations. She listens more than she reacts. She's not looking for validation. She's offering wisdom. And when she does speak, her words land differently. Because she's not speaking from ego. She's speaking from experience. Every sentence carries the weight of lessons learned, tears shed, prayers whispered. You can feel her truth in her tone. People respect that kind of woman. Not because she demands it, but because she earns it. She respects herself first, and that sets the standard. That's the secret. You teach the world how to treat you by the energy you bring. If your spirit is grounded, your boundaries are clear, and your peace is non-negotiable, respect becomes automatic. Her energy says, I've outgrown chaos. It says, I'm not impressed by attention. I'm impressed by effort. It says, I don't chase, I choose. That's what makes her powerful. Not her looks, not her words, not her title, her energy. Because energy speaks before words ever could. Now, that kind of presence doesn't come easy. It's built through battles, silent ones. Through nights where she had to pick herself up when nobody else did. Through learning to let go of what drained her and surround herself with what filled her. And because she's been through so much, she moves differently now. She doesn't beg, she doesn't force, she flows. She doesn't try to fit in. She stands out naturally. Because authenticity is louder than any fast aid. When she walks into a room now, she's not asking, do they like me? She's grounded in, do I like who I am here? That's power. That's peace, that's presence. Her energy commands respect because she became what she once prayed to be. And when you've done that kind of inner work, you don't need to prove anything. Your energy will always speak on your behalf. A high-value woman doesn't move from fear. She moves from faith. She doesn't build her life out of desperation. She builds it from direction. She's not out here trying to prove anything to the world. She's trying to fulfill what God placed inside her. See, once upon a time, she tried to build her life on shaky ground, on people's approval, on temporary validation, on relationships that looked like love, but felt like confusion. She learned the hard way that anything built on insecurity eventually collapses. And so she started over, this time with a stronger foundation, faith, healing, and purpose. Faith taught her to trust even when she couldn't see the way. Healing taught her to let go of what she couldn't control. And purpose taught her that she was never meant to settle for almost. Now she wakes up every day knowing that she's not behind. She's becoming. She's no longer begging life to give her something. She's creating something with her own two hands. That's what happens when you stop chasing and start believing. See, desperation says, I need this to feel enough. But faith says, even without it, I am enough. A high-value woman doesn't make choices out of panic anymore. She's not forcing doors that won't open. She's not trying to convince people to stay. She's not running after opportunities that require her to shrink. She's learned that what's truly meant for her will align with her peace, not fight against it. Her healing became her turning point. She stopped blaming others for her pain and started taking accountability for her growth. She learned how to sit with her past without living in it. She turned her wounds into wisdom, her silence into strength, her waiting into preparation. You can see the change in her. It's quiet but powerful. She doesn't need to announce her transformation. She radiates it. Her energy feels softer. Her words sound calmer. And her vision looks clearer. Because when you've healed, your spirit stops rushing. You move with intention. She's not desperate for love because she knows love will meet her at her level of peace. She's not desperate for attention because she's too busy walking in her purpose. And she's not desperate for validation because she's found her confidence in something eternal, not external. Her faith keeps her grounded when life gets heavy. When things don't go her way, she doesn't crumble. She prays. When people leave, she doesn't chase. She trusts that their absence made space for something better. When doors close, she doesn't panic. She understands rejection is often divine redirection. And through it all, she keeps building. Not because everything's perfect, but because she believes she's called to something greater. She's not just chasing success. She's building legacy. She's not just healing her own heart. She's breaking generational patterns. She's not just surviving. She's becoming whole. That's what makes her so powerful. She's no longer building from emptiness. She's building from overflow. Her dreams are not rooted in fear. They're rooted in faith. And when a woman builds from faith, nothing can shake her foundation. Because faith gives her vision when logic says give up. Healing gives her peace when pain tries to return. And purpose gives her direction when everything else feels uncertain. That's why she moves with calm confidence. She knows that even when she doesn't see progress, God's still working behind the scenes. She's not rushing the process. She's trusting it. Because a high-value woman understands desperation builds prisons, but purpose builds kingdoms. And she's building hers. Brick by brick, prayer by prayer, step by step. She's not waiting for something to complete her. She's already complete. She's not searching for the light. She is the light. And every single day, she's walking closer to the woman she was always meant to be. And before you go, remember this: you are enough. You are growing, and you are exactly where you're meant to be. Thank you for spending this time with me. Your journey matters here. Take care. Stay graceful. And I'll see you again soon in the next one.